For centuries, Stonehenge has loomed over the English countryside. A circle of massive stones rising from the earth. Built by hands long gone, and for reasons that have baffled humanity for millennia, its towering sarcens, mysterious bluestones, and the precise placement of each slab have sparked endless speculation. Was it a temple, a calendar, a place of worship, or something far stranger? New scientific discoveries are now rewriting everything we thought we knew about this ancient monument, uncovering secrets buried beneath the soil and hidden within the stones themselves. What researchers have found challenges both legend and history, and it's far more astonishing than anyone imagined. At the center of this story lies the Newall boulder, a football-sized stone unearthed about 100 years ago. For decades, its origins have divided experts. Some argued it was a glacial erratic, carried hundreds of miles by retreating ice from Wales. Others suggested it was deliberately transported by humans over treacherous terrain more than 5,000 years ago. The debate raged on until a team led by Professor Richard Bevans at Aberystwyth University decided to finally investigate. Using advanced geochemical and microscopic analysis, they compared the Newall boulder to stones from Craig Roswyffelen in North Pembrokeshire, Wales. The results were unequivocal. The boulder matched the Welsh rocks perfectly, down to its chemical fingerprint, showing identical levels of thorium and zirconium. There was no sign it had been dragged by glaciers. Instead, it had been moved deliberately by Neolithic people already quarrying stone in Wales around 3000 BCE. Further analysis revealed that another buried stone long thought to be spotted dolerite was actually the same foliated rhyolite as the Newall boulder. Its surface enriched with calcium carbonate from centuries buried in chalk soil. Every detail pointed to human hands transporting these stones, some weighing more than 3 tons. Across more than 125 miles of challenging terrain was no small feat, while some, like geologist Dr. Brian John, still argue for the glacier theory. The absence of similar stones scattered across the Salisbury Plain suggests otherwise. The bluestones were not random. They were intentionally placed, evidence of a monumental effort by ancient builders. The Neolithic engineers who undertook this task were clearly capable of feats we might consider impossible today. If they could handle the enormous sarcens, towering over 7 meters and weighing more than 20 tons each, moving bluestones of 2 to 3 tons was a challenge they could meet. The sarcens came from West Woods, about 20 miles away, while the altar stone traveled nearly 470 miles from Scotland. Such accomplishments suggest not just technical skill, but a purpose that extended beyond practical construction. Stonehenge was a statement, a symbol of unity, power, and spiritual devotion, linking communities across distances that would have seemed insurmountable to modern eyes. This extraordinary effort raises the question of purpose. Recent studies suggest that Stonehenge may have functioned as one of the earliest and most sophisticated solar calendars ever built. Professor Timothy Darvill of Bournemouth University analyzed the sarcens and discovered a remarkable system encoded in their placement. The 30 stones of the sarcen circle, linked by horizontal lintels, may have represented the 30 days of a Neolithic month. 12 such cycles would approximate a year of 360 days, with the 5 stones of the trilithon horseshoe accounting for the remaining epigomenal days. The 4 station stones on the perimeter may have allowed for an extra day every 4th year. A primitive leap year correction. Without written records, embedding a calendar into stone ensured that timekeeping was both public and sacred, guiding agriculture, ceremonies, and even political control over the rhythm of life. Stonehenge was not only a marker of the sun, but a stage for sound. Acoustics researchers at the University of Salford recreated a 1/12 scale model called Mini-Henge, replicating the monument's every curve and gap. Testing revealed that voices and music were amplified within the circle, creating an intimate space for ritual while excluding the outside world. Some stones, when struck, produced resonant tones, almost like a musical instrument. Experiments in 2013 demonstrated that these ringing stones could be played as a massive xylophone, adding a sonic dimension to the monument that modern audiences rarely experience. Sound, alongside solar alignment, created an immersive environment where astronomy, ritual, and human perception intertwined. Before science could explain the marvels of Stonehenge, myths filled the gaps. The most famous story attributes the construction to Merlin, the mystical wizard of King Arthur's court. According to Geoffrey of Monmouth's 12th century account, Merlin magically transported massive stones from Ireland to Salisbury Plain to honor fallen British nobles. Legends spoke of giants, lost civilizations, and mystical powers imbued in the rocks. While we now know these tales are fiction, they reflect humanity's awe at what our ancestors achieved without modern technology. The legends endure because the monument itself is almost beyond belief, even to this day. Beyond myths, Stonehenge also hides a connection to the moon. Researchers from Oxford, Leicester, and Bournemouth universities, in collaboration with English Heritage, have been investigating lunar alignments, particularly major lunar standstills occurring every 18.6 years. Ancient observers may have tracked these extreme moonrises and moonsets using the positions of the station stones. Evidence suggests that some of the earliest cremation burials were placed precisely where the moon reaches its southernmost point during a standstill. Later editions of massive sarsens may have reinforced these alignments, blending celestial observation with ritual practice. Stonehenge was not only a solar clock but also a lunar observatory, connecting earthbound mortals to cosmic cycles that unfold over decades. Yet, despite the majesty and ingenuity of its construction, Stonehenge has faced human threats throughout history. Up until the 17th century, stones disappeared to be repurposed in local buildings. Visitors chipped off souvenirs, sometimes destroying the monument bit by bit. By the 20th century, festivals and large gatherings posed further risks, leading to fencing, policing, and temporary closures. In recent decades, both state-sanctioned projects, like tunnel construction, and activist interventions, such as spraying the stones with paint, have reignited debates over preservation and access. Even today, the monument exists as a fragile balance between historical awe and modern human impact. Stonehenge's story is one of extraordinary human ambition. It tells of people willing to move multi-ton stones over impossible distances, organize labor across generations, and encode knowledge about the sun, moon, and seasons into a permanent, monumental calendar. It reminds us that long before modern science, humans could observe, measure, and manipulate the natural world with astonishing precision. Stonehenge is a testament to human ingenuity, blending ritual, astronomy, and acoustic design in ways that continue to fascinate and inspire. The mysteries are far from solved. Every new study, every acoustic experiment, and every laser scan uncovers another layer of complexity, suggesting that Stonehenge was not a single-purpose monument but a multi-dimensional achievement. Its builders achieved something that still captivates millions, a space where humans, stone, and sky converge in harmony. And even as myths fade and science illuminates its secrets, the monument retains an aura that feels almost magical. Stonehenge is not only a window into our distant past, it's a reminder of what humans are capable of when imagination, skill, and vision come together. For centuries, Stonehenge has stood as one of the world's greatest mysteries, a circle of massive stones rising from the English countryside, built by hands long gone and for reasons still debated. People have wondered, was it an ancient calendar, a place of worship, or something far stranger? Now, after years of digging, scanning, and analyzing, scientists say they've uncovered evidence that changes everything we thought we knew. The clues they found beneath the soil and within the stones themselves tell a story that's far more shocking than legends ever hinted. Join us as we reveal all they found out. The Stonehenge mystery finally solved by scientists for centuries. Stonehenge has been wrapped in mystery, its towering stones and smaller bluestones sparking fierce debate among historians and scientists alike. But now, one of its greatest puzzles, the origin of these iconic smaller stones, may finally be solved. The spotlight is on a single rock, the Newall boulder. Unearthed about 100 years ago, this football-sized stone has divided experts for decades. Did it arrive naturally, carried by ancient glaciers from Wales? Or was it deliberately hauled by humans over 125 miles, more than 5,000 years ago? A team led by Professor Richard Bevans from Aberystwyth University decided to find out. Using advanced geochemical and microscopic analysis, they compared the Newell boulder to stones from Craigrose, a rocky outcrop in North Pembrokeshire, Wales. The results were striking. The boulder was an exact geological match. With no evidence, it was a glacial erratic. This means it wasn't randomly dropped by retreating ice. Instead, it was almost certainly moved by Neolithic people, who were already quarrying stone in that Welsh location around 3000 BCE. The chemical fingerprint, identical not glaciers, brought it here. Moving these stones, some weighing over 3 tons, from Wales to Salisbury Plain would have been a monumental achievement. Most archaeologists agree that Neolithic builders undertook this incredible task, but some, like geologist Dr. Brian John, still argues for the glacier theory, pointing to marks he believes were made by ice dragging the rock across the land. But the new research challenges that view. It suggests those marks could just as easily come from natural weathering. And perhaps the most convincing point, if glaciers had carried the stones, similar fragments would be scattered all across the plain, yet they're found only at Stonehenge. That, the researchers say, speaks volumes. The latest research doesn't just challenge Dr. Brian John's glacier theory, it dismantles it. The team behind the study stated bluntly that his arguments have no basis in evidence and that presenting them as fact is disingenuous. Their reasoning is simple. Stonehenge itself is the proof. If the massive monument stands today, it's because Neolithic builders moved stones, some weighing up to 40 tons, into place. Unless we believe these enormous slabs just happened to be lying perfectly where they needed to be. They had to be transported, whether a few meters or hundreds of kilometers. And if ancient people could handle the shifting bluestones weighing 2 or 3 tons would have been far less demanding. The towering at over 7 meters and weighing more than 20 tons each, came from West Woods in Wiltshire, about 20 miles away. Even more astonishing, the famous altar stone was brought all the way from Scotland, a journey of nearly 470 miles. That alone proves that long-distance stone transport was possible thousands of years ago. We may never know the exact methods, but history offers clues. Indigenous communities in more recent times have moved multi-ton stones great distances using nothing more than ropes, wooden sledges, and trackways, all tools available to Stonehenge's builders, and that's part of what makes Stonehenge so remarkable. While most Neolithic stone circles were built with whatever rocks were nearby, this one was constructed entirely from stones brought from afar. Such an effort suggests it wasn't just a ceremonial site, but perhaps a unifying project for ancient Britain, a political and spiritual statement carved in stone, linking people to their ancestors and the cosmos. The new study leaves little doubt. The bluestones were carried by human hands, not dragged by ancient ice. The real mystery now isn't whether people brought them here, it's why they went to such extraordinary lengths to do it. But what if Stonehenge's true purpose was far more precise? Keep watching to find out. Could the real purpose of Stonehenge be to serve as a solar calendar? For thousands of years, people have stared at Stonehenge and wondered, what was it really for? New research suggests we may finally have part of the answer, and it's not just about rituals or burials. According to Professor Timothy Darvill of Bournemouth University, the monument may have been one of the world's earliest and most accurate calendars, published in the journal Antiquity. Darvill's study proposes that the massive sarsen stones, the largest in the monument, were carefully arranged as the building blocks of a simple and elegant perpetual calendar, based on the solar year of 365.25 days. His analysis shows that the sarsens making up the trilithons, the sarsen circle, and the station stone rectangle were all put in place between 2620 and 2480 BCE, and remarkably, they've stayed in those exact spots ever since. The sarsen circle, perhaps the most striking feature of Stonehenge, was built from 30 upright stones linked by 30 horizontal lintels. Darvill explains that these 30 stones were designed to form a complete circuit. with each stone representing one day of a Neolithic month. In this system, a month had 30 days, divided into 3 10-day weeks. Interestingly, stones S11 and S21 break the pattern slightly in shape, marking the start of the second and third weeks. 12 cycles of 30 days gave ancient timekeepers 360 days. But what about the remaining days in a solar year? Those were represented by the 5 enormous stones of the trilithon horseshoe at the Monuments Center. Arranged from smallest to largest, these stones accounted for the final 5 epigomenal days, likely set aside for special festivals or religious observances. Even more impressive, Stonehenge's builders may have accounted for leap years. 4 station stones, arranged in a rectangle on the outer perimeter, allowed for the addition of an extra day every 4th year to keep the calendar in sync with the sun's cycle. This is a sophisticated timekeeping system, especially for a society without written records. Darville notes that in non-literate cultures, embedding a calendar directly into a massive stone monument makes sense. It would have been vital for farming communities, guiding them on when to plant crops, celebrate harvest festivals, or honor specific deities. It also carried political weight. Controlling the calendar meant controlling the rhythm of life itself. And beyond the practical, it anchored spiritual beliefs, ensuring that ceremonies happened on the right days to please the gods. In this light, Stonehenge was more than just a gathering place. It was a time machine in stone, connecting earth, sky, and people, and marking the passage of the seasons with a precision that still amazes us today. But Stonehenge may also hide secrets you can actually hear. Stonehenge's hidden acoustic secrets. Revealed Stonehenge may have been more than a monument to the sun and seasons. It might also have been built to shape sound in extraordinary ways. A new study from acoustics engineers at the University of Salford suggests the prehistoric stone circle was designed to amplify voices and music, creating an intimate soundscape hidden from the outside world. To uncover these secrets, the team painstakingly built a 1/12 scale replica they called Minihenge, using laser scans from historic England. They recreated every curve, height, and gap of the original monument as it stood around 2500 BCE. Missing stones were restored in their ancient positions, 157 in all. Based on the latest archaeological evidence, the stones were 3D printed and treated to mimic the real rock's acoustic qualities, creating the most precise reconstruction ever attempted. Testing took place in the university's specialist acoustic chamber, where speakers and microphones replaced Neolithic voices and drums. Because of the smaller model size, all sounds were played 12 times higher than normal, shifting them into the ultrasonic range. The results were astonishing. Inside the circle, voices carried with remarkable clarity. The arrangement of stones amplified sound by more than 4 decibels without creating echoes, and it blocked most outside noise from coming in. Conversations or music played at the center could be heard perfectly within the inner ring, but barely at all beyond it. You'd think the sound would just vanish into the air, said lead researcher Trevor Cox. But the stones bounce it back and forth. It's quite magical. This clever design suggests that rituals and ceremonies held at Stonehenge were meant for a select audience, those standing inside the ring, while the rest of the gathered community, perhaps outside the circle, could only watch. The monument's massive size might have been built to impress the many, but its sound was reserved for the few. When researchers tested their Minihenge model, they experimented with different arrangements of the stones, reflecting archaeological evidence that the monument was reconfigured several times over its long history. Surprisingly, these changes made almost no difference to how the sound behaved. To the human ear, the acoustics would have felt the same. This finding hints that while sound played a role in Stonehenge's design, it likely wasn't the main reason for how the stones were placed. Most experts still agree that astronomical alignment, tracking the sun, moon, and seasons, was the primary guiding principle. Still, the monument's musical qualities continue to fascinate. Stonehenge hums when the wind blows hard, says musicologist Rupert Till, who has studied its acoustics. Some believe that certain smaller stones were chosen not just for their appearance or location, but for their sound. When struck, They produce a resonant tone, almost like a metallic gong. In 2014, lead acoustics researcher Trevor Cox suggested they might have been used as percussion instruments during ceremonies. That idea isn't just speculation. In 2013, a team from the Royal College of Art managed to play Stonehenge's so-called ringing stones like a giant xylophone, creating an otherworldly kind of rock music. Their study, published in Time and Mind, the Journal of Archaeology, Consciousness, and Culture, concluded that these acoustic effects were probably even stronger in ancient times, before many of the stones were set into reinforced concrete, a modern addition that dampened their natural vibrations. If true, Stonehenge was not just a place to watch the sky or mark the seasons, but a space where sound and stone came together, a theater for both sight and song. But could the origin of Stonehenge be linked to something magical? Let's find out. Merlin and the magical origins of Stonehenge. Long before scientists studied its stones with lasers and microscopes, Stonehenge lived in the realm of legend, and in those ancient tales, one name towered above all others: Merlin. The mystical wizard of King Arthur's court, master of spells, dragons,